Hello, hello, hello. I am live. I'm going to put my glasses on because I will be reading your comments and some notes that I've made for today. So welcome to the first of 3 in a trilogy of visibility. And today we're going to talk about visibility, or when visibility meets anxiety, and some things you can do about it. So if you have ever had a situation where you've needed to be more visible professionally, it could be to put yourself forward for recognition. It could be to put yourself forward for promotion. It could be you're up for an award. It could be to talk about your work and put it out there even more. It could be about raising your profile in your industry. It could be about making decisions which feel very important in terms of your career. If you've ever gone through any of those scenarios or something similar, and you have found that you felt anxious, worried about it, to the point where you've had anxiety around it, then this stream will be for you. And if there's anyone in your team or any of your friends or peers that you know, then do share this with them. Now, there's 3 ways that you can share this video. At this moment in time, I am coming live to you and I am streaming in 3 places. I'm streaming to you from my LinkedIn page, which is easy to find me in the search bar, 𝗙𝗶_HE𝗹𝗶, the Queen of Being Seen, you'll find me. You can go into YouTube and search at 𝗙𝗶_HE𝗹𝗶, and you'll find my channel there. Do subscribe. And even if you don't have time to watch this now, you can go back and have a look onto the videos or onto the live streams and find a whole plethora of really great resources designed to help you to be visible, to help you to be more heard and seen professionally too. And the other place, of course, that you can watch this will be on my Facebook page, which is 𝗙𝗶_HE𝗹𝗶, the Queen of Being Seen. Or if you're looking in Facebook, it's a business page. So if you put in the @visibility_vibe, like that behind me, without the S, you'll find my page there too. And, follow or like, whichever you prefer, and you'll be able to get all of that information too. Now, every now and then, although I look at you, you'll see me look over here. It's because I've got some notes here, because I want to go through and share everything that I can in the time that I have. And if we run out of time, which we invariably will, I can't tell you everything about my insights and learnings around anxiety and visibility in a short space of 20 minutes or so. I will let you know how to get more. Hope that's okay with you. But I'll let you know how you can get more of this. And one of the ways is the ways I've just said. Do connect with me online in other places. And also underneath this video, I'd actually stopped doing it, but I will start just putting where you can, other places you can find me online. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter or X and all of that. Although I am looking at that decision, but anyway, that's another topic for another time. So you know why this might be for you. You know who you can share it to and how you can share it. You know that I've only got a few minutes to share this with you. You'll know that I'm looking over here because I will be checking my notes. Whoops, something weird happened there. I'll be checking my notes just to make sure that I'm on topic and share all the juicy things that I've planned for you. So why am I speaking about this? It's interesting. I'm a visibility specialist and I've been doing this for 14 years. And the reason I feel like I fell into this topic, but the reason that I talk about visibility online, in person at talks, at conferences, in organizations, with business owners and founders, going and work with people's teams, isn't because of me. It's because of you. It's the things that you tell me, the things that you say, the things that you grapple with, the things that you struggle with. And I don't want that for anybody, and I certainly don't want it for you. So there's a couple of things to know about me. I'm like the queen of metaphor, but there's a reason for that. Metaphor helps me, and when I share it with other people and teach it to other people, helps you know exactly what to say when you need to say it. And it also helps the person for their understanding. The other thing to know about me is, despite the fact that these lives are often sort of 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes every day, because this is day 50 of a 365-day almost marathon, quite often when I've been invited to speak on the BBC, whether it's TV or radio, often the segments are only 6 minutes, or sometimes less, sometimes more, although I did have a really juicy half-an-hour segment with Nicky Campbell, who I adore, the ultimate professional, brilliant person, and I really like how it shows up in the world. But even though it's like a 6-minute segment, usually if people are calling in, asking questions between the presenter, this particular time I'm thinking of was Nicky Campbell, other times it would be like Emma Barnett, and other people who present various different BBC shows or 5 Live shows, you get a small window of time to say something, to make an effect and to make a difference to someone's life who might be struggling, worrying or grappling with something, but it makes a positive change for them. And this to me is really super important. Quite often when people think about transformation, when they think about leadership, when they think about change, they think about it as being an ongoing, long-going journey. When the truth is, if you can find the smallest thing that makes the biggest difference, the leverage point, it absolutely changes people's lives. So the reason why these topics are going to be covered, anxiety, burnout and overwhelm, are some areas where you will be able to make a difference very easily to the people around you. Many of the people I speak to will know how to do that, but actually even more of you won't know. So I hope that my insights will really help to share. And then the other reason that I'm passionate about this topic, even though I've taught it and trained it in various different settings to various different people, and some of which were surprising. I thought they would receive training for this sort of thing already. The reason why is because I know what it feels like to worry, and I know what it feels like to have that worry lay dormant and then become anxiety. And what it leads to us doubting ourselves. It leads to us disempowering ourselves because we make like decisions that aren't great for us because we're doing it from a disempowered place. And that leads on to us feeling less than. We feel like we're not enough, which eventually leads to something I refer to as a crisis of confidence, because a lot of the people that I work with are highly smart, intelligent, like super, yet, and they're confident, kind of goes without saying. Yet when something taps away at a crisis of confidence, it does have the power sometimes to take us down at the knees. So this is why I'm starting with this particular topic. So why? Why do people, especially professional people, especially smart and savvy people, why do they go through these kind of crisis of confidence? Why do they go from worry or concern or just kind of a simple thought to anxiety? So, of course, there are many different reasons, and I always look to find the root cause. And it's interesting because when people come to me around visibility and they have some sort of like concern or worry or anxiety around visibility, there's usually something close by that seemingly has nothing to do with the thing that they're worrying about, which actually plays into it. And I always look at the root cause. This is something that's quite sacred, quite special. And although it doesn't take, years and years, it's not something that I would just throw out there on the internet to be juggled around with carelessly. I care more about how you feel and where you're at to do that. But here's why this happens. I've kind of listed down 3 things. They care a lot, and they care a lot about themselves, and they also care a lot about other people. One of the pathways to when people are feeling anxiety around something, even when it's not explicitly voiced, when I'm coaching them or mentoring them, I hear them say something like, I don't want to let people down. And that simple sentence in the wider world has people going, oh, no, you don't, you're really great, blah, 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 which actually is like a pressure cooker. It adds more pressure to the person internally. So there's a lot of different tools that I can use with that, depending on the person, depending on the thing, depending on the anxiety. But they usually care so much that they don't want to let other people down. Quite often it's nothing to do with themselves, which leads me to the second point. They are other focused. And by other focused, we have a set of different motivators, like self-motivators. And I normally talk about these when I have a lot more time in talks. But one of the things that can self-motivate us, so this is not about willpower or anything else like that. It's not about people having to cheer us on. It's our self-motivators. And one of the things that really helps with our self-motivation in any given task, because here's how people get this twisted, is that we either are motivated for ourselves or for others. Now, the reason I say let's not get this twisted, armchair psychology will have us believe that I'm a person that's only motivated by others, or I'm a person that's only motivated by myself, when in fact, different things can cause different things. So it could be, in order to finish a project, I'm motivated by myself, but in order to help somebody to do another thing, I'm motivated by others. It's never one thing for everything. So it's really important when we find ourselves feeling anxious about something. Hey, Ian, good to see you. Ian from the UK, everyone, Ian Wilson. So one of the things that's really important is to look at each thing individually and know, is this a thing that I am motivated for myself, i.e. I have to do this, I need to do this, or is it something that's motivated by someone else? Can't let them down. This is for, my work colleagues, my kids, my parents, my team, my other people. And it doesn't always have to be a negative motivator. It's often a good motivator. So the lovely Ian, I'm going to flash his comment up on the screen. Follow him wherever you see him. He starts his hello with "Hey up, good morning, Miss JK." And I know this because he is from a part of the world where they say "Hey up." So if you ever speak to our friend David Sterling, I'll let him explain the regional dialects and things like that. But Ian is really great with helping people with their technical stuff. So Ian's a great example, because sometimes some of the jobs and work that he needs to do, he'll be motivated. I remember he helped me a few years ago with something that I was grappling with, like with the tech. He was like, I need to get to the bottom of this. I need to understand why this is happening. Very self-motivated, but for other people. Whereas when he goes to work with clients or people in different companies, then he's going to be very other driven. He wants to do a great job. And that's just, I'm giving that as an example. I'm not saying that's exactly how Ian is, but so you can see the difference between that. So if we're other focused, that can sometimes cause us to be motivated or lead to anxiety. And if we're self-focused, it can do the same thing, cause us to be motivated or lead to anxiety. And the reason is usually if we're self-motivated and we're trying to be motivated by others, that's what causes a mismatch. It's like and it kind of grates. We don't understand why, we just know that we feel it. The third thing that I notice of why people can become or change from being concerned, worried, to anxious into anxiety is because they think it through a lot. These are the sorts of people that are deep thinkers, but what will happen is they will almost get into a wheel where they think and think and think and they think again. I see this in various different guises. Speakers do this a lot. They'll prepare their presentation, and then for a majority of them at the last minute, which could be 3 o'clock in the morning, it could be an hour before they're due to speak, it could be as they're walking on the stage, rather than stick or twist, they'll go, oh, actually, I might need to change a few things. And that's because it's going around their head. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Here's what they're trying to do. They're not trying to do just a good job. They want to do an absolutely fantastic and great job. So whether you're the person that goes through the anxiety, or whether you're the leader, or the the team, it could be your marketing person, an HR person, whether you're the person, the founder with a team of people, and you identify this in your team, this is important too. So this person doesn't want to just do a good job, they want to do a great job. The other thing is sometimes they're doing it because they're trying to fit somebody else's idea of perfection. So it could be, for many people, they start to form their ideas of what's right and what's wrong at about the age of 7, or by the age of 7, depending on who's around them. If they spend time with parents, grandparents, schools, teachers, carers, babysitters, whoever they spend the most time with, they'll start to form their opinion. And sometimes inadvertently, they'll take that opinion further into their lives. And for many of the people that I speak to, especially the execs, it tends to show up in very sneaky ways. And my founders and my business owners, it shows up in sneaky ways decades later. And this is why I say it doesn't always seemingly have anything to do with the thing that's in front of them. And a good leader will be able to take on the tools to spot that and to change that quite rapidly. So the other thing is that sometimes it comes from a place of indecision, and this is like inadvertent indecision. We haven't decided yet, so it means it hasn't landed yet. In a weird sort of way, many years ago when I used to make cakes, somebody would come to me and say, I want to make this cake for this person. It's this birthday. They like this, 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 and this. I'll leave the design up to you. So I would obviously write these notes down and kind of play with it. I would turn it around in my mind, and I would have ideas of what the finished article could look like. And I would sometimes sketch them down. But until it had landed, almost like, that feeling, that self-assuredness that's right in, stand up, right there, until it had landed there, I wasn't ever 100% sure on, the design I was going to make. And when you're designing a cake, or when you're designing anything, you have a vision of what it could look like. But if you want to start with the end in mind, you want to know what you're designing, what you're creating. And it's exactly the same when you're being visible on video, when you're being visible online, when you're posting on social media, when you're speaking, when you're presenting, or when you're even presenting your products and services because you want them to be bought by people, you want to sell them. All of this is important. So for now, think of a time, and remember, you can go back to this video. Think of a time when, and I'm going to give you 3 options. You either wanted to create a video and you weren't sure what to say. Now, quite a few of us are in a 365 days of delivering these videos or live streams live. And with 365 different topics, it can get to a point where we go, right, we're going to go live today. Don't know what we're going to talk about. Haven't got a clue, but I'll think of something. Okay, so think of a time when either you wanted to create a video, you knew you wanted to create a video, but you weren't sure kind of what to say, what it was about. Or think of a time maybe where you might be a speaker or aspiring speaker, and you've been asked to speak or to present something, especially when you're presenting your products or services or wanting to sell them. Or think of a time when you've wanted to post something, maybe online, maybe on social media, or maybe write something, like a blog or something, a white paper or something informative for your audience too. So pick one of those 3. Don't pick all 3 of them. If you are like driven, I'm ambitious, Jenny, I want to pick all 3. Pick one, do this exercise, and then go back, pick the next one, do the exercise again, and rinse and repeat. Okay, so just have one thing to work on. Otherwise, it becomes overwhelming. I'll be talking about that on Thursday, visibility and overwhelm. Okay, so now you've picked that thing, think about a time when you were going to do it, or maybe are going to do it, but you felt not just a bit worried, like really anxious about it. And even as I say that, the word anxiety again lands in a very similar place, but a different place, kind of here, a little bit higher up here in your stomach. So I've got the the good one and the anxiety here. This is why expressions like having a knot in your stomach and all of that kind of stuff come into play. So, okay, so now you've thought of one of those. I had just said that one of the reasons that people become anxious is because their outcome isn't clear yet. Now, when people tell me, Jenny, I want to do more video, but I don't know what to say, or I had somebody recently that I was speaking to that said, you know, I definitely want to speak more because I want to present my products and services, and I give really great value, give really great content, but nothing ever comes of it. And that makes me sad. However, that's easily fixed. And what I then looked at with them was, well, what is it that you are aiming to do? Is it a presentation? Are you selling something? Is it a speaking thing? Which is it? Because once you've decided on that, it makes the rest easier to do. It's a bit of reverse engineering, really. Okay. So if whichever you've picked, it doesn't matter. Just pick the thing that you've picked and the feeling of anxiety. If you know it, write down somewhere or make a note somewhere. If you're a journaler, definitely journal it. But if not, write down somewhere, even on a scrap of paper. What is it about this thing that has you feeling anxious? For some reason, when it comes to visibility, often people go down the line of they're not sure what to say or they're not sure what to do, but normally they're not sure what to say. And deeper under that, they feel like there's something missing, like they don't feel like they have enough knowledge, or they don't feel like they know enough. People often tell me I can't do video because I'm not very technical, and I talk about mouth, arm and phone really easy, super, super easy. And if you're wondering how I do this and stream to 3 different places, in the comment, you'll see a StreamYard piece that they put in there. If you click on that, you can sign up for free, but you'll get a $10 credit if you decide to upgrade and pay, which I think is pretty cool, pretty good. So worth grabbing onto. Even if you're not going to use it, it might be somebody that you come across that you can share it with them too. So now you know the root of the anxiety, and this is where it's easier to do that when you're working with somebody else. It's like trying to cut your own hair. You cut it, do a good job, and then there's that bit at the back, and every time you turn, it turns as well, and you can't quite get to it. So good reason to work with mentors and coaches, because they can kind of tease that out of you. Okay, so now you've hopefully understood something around why the anxiety. You now are a bit clearer on what is it you're doing. Is it to grow your audience? Let's take a video, for example, especially for the 365 days. There's so many different reasons we could use them: to grow our audience, to make a sale, to demonstrate our expertise, to share a nugget or a tip. Tuesday is a good day to do a Tuesday tip, by the way, if you're watching this live or on the replay. You can use it for all of those sorts of things. Pick one of them and then work backwards. With that clarity, you'll now know exactly what it is that you want to do. There are some other questions you can ask yourself. From a point of anxiety, and let's not make anxiety wrong. Let's not make it the bad guy in the room. One of the things that I've noticed over the years, and I'm just going to there's so much more I can say on this, but we don't want to be on here for hours, so I'm going to start wrapping up. One of the quickest ways to combat anxiety, and this is when it's anxiety that isn't serving you, it's stopping you from doing something, it's having you feel fear for a lot longer than you feel is kind of natural or wanted. It's having a negative impact, maybe sometimes on the relationships around people. I see it frequently when I work with founders and CEOs, especially when they're business owning founders and CEOs, and they're working with a team. It could be one person, it could be a number of people. It affects the way they communicate with the team, because then assumptions are made. They think and think and think. They worry that they're the bad boss or whatever. I remember one particular client that we worked through these conversations with, because it seemed to me what needed to happen was they needed to part ways, but they needed to do it in a way that felt good for both of them. especially for them. That's what caused the anxiety. So it's really important to be able to have a look at that. So how can you have lasting transformation? I'm going to give you one kind of quick tip to work with and to continue working with or playing with. Be playful with it. Don't have that be another thing that you get anxious about. But if you want to have a bit more lasting transformation, then by all means, if you go over to 𝗙𝗶𝗱.com, you'll be able to go over to there, click and book an appointment to speak to me. It's a 45-minute appointment, and it will be able to we'll be able to discuss what's the best next step for you. Now, what I think would be the best next thing if you're finding like anxiety, overwhelm to the point of burnout as well, and this can be a mental burnout, not just a physical one. I am going to be working with, I've got spaces for 2 people to work with privately through what I call like a one-day intensive, sometimes known as a VIP day, where we will look at the transformational training. Now, transformation could be for you as the business owner and how you transform when you're working with clients as well, because your clients will normally come to you because they have some form of anxiety, something that's showing up for them. Sorry, my phone's just locked with its notes. Something that's showing up for them, something they feel stuck in, something they need your help with. And your area of expertise will always be the thing that you do. But sometimes what you'll struggle with is helping those people to turn a corner. So in a one-day private container, we can talk about the typical things that come up where you can use very quick transformational tools. Remember, like I said, a BBC segment is kind of 6 to 9 minutes sometimes, and how a very quick conversation can transform somebody and have them see things differently, and it has them working well for you. But what I tend to do on those private days is I have a 30-day container. So we get together, usually in person, somewhere nice where you can switch off and we can roll our sleeves up and get stuff done. But I also have conducted a number of these online too, especially when I've had clients that haven't wanted to travel. I've had clients in Canada, America, Hong Kong, Germany, so and they have preferred just to do this online, so we do that too. And then after a 30-day we have a 30-day period, like an incubator, where as things land, as you go out and do stuff in the world, you and I support each other in how you continue that transformation. There's a few other great things, but I'll tell you more about that if it's something that speaks to you. And then for some of you, you're happy actually to do it in a small group. So a small group of you will get together in person where we can talk about the different ways that you transform people, and then together we can implement different transformational techniques. I see this with a lot of people, especially where they almost feel the responsibility to have the perfect results, which weirdly causes them the anxiety. Anyway, so if you want to do that in a group format, then let me know. I'll put you on the wait list and let you know more details about that, and dates and things like that, and locations, which will be around the UK. And I know that one of you would like me to come in and speak to your company too, so we can arrange that. So, lasting transformation. One of the key things I've noticed in the last 14 years specifically with doing this work is, how do we create anxiety in ourselves inadvertently? What I see lots of people do is they think a lot, and they think again, and they overthink. And what actually happens is they think that they are thinking the solution, but what they're actually doing is they're worrying, they're thinking, and they're inadvertently embedding it because they haven't been taught another way to do it. So here's what to do instead. Number one, identify the place that you're trying to get to. So like I say, with visibility, it might be growing a business, it might be getting a cash injection, it might be selling your services, it might be letting people know what you do, it might be educating people, inspiring them, it could be connecting with them, acknowledging that you are the person that knows their stuff. Whatever the thing is, acknowledge what that is that you're trying to get to first. Okay. And then the next thing is, have a look at how you think about it. and what you're doing and what you're saying. I call this the pill of noticing. When you give yourself the pill of noticing, you're not beating yourself up, you're not judging yourself, you're just noticing, what is it that I keep saying to myself that isn't helpful to me? And then the next thing is, specifically with anxiety, because of the amount of thinking that happens rapidly, more so than somebody that's not presenting with anxiety, give yourself something else to think about, not changing the subject, but give yourself something that actually empowers you instead of disempowers you. That's what I would like to share with you today. Do those 3 things, take your time and notice it. Do this for yourself, because you'll find the sneaky areas, the sneaky corners where these things hide out. So tomorrow, I am going to be talking about burnout, almost mental burnout. It's not always about working excessive hours. Sometimes it's about what we think about excessively. I had an experience once where I was using my brain to do something that I actually didn't want to do. And this is one of the most popular things and popular reasons that I see people actually mentally burning out. It's not a good look. And the worst thing I've always said about burnout is when people are on the path to burnout, they don't actually recognize that they're on that path to do it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. I'd love you to share this video. Remember that this is currently streaming on LinkedIn, on my YouTube account, and also on my business Facebook page, 𝗙𝗶𝗱, the Queen of Being Seen. So if you know somebody that could really use this, rather than tagging them into the post, just copy the link from wherever you're watching and send it to them in another way, a private way, so they can digest it and do what they need to do too. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. UK, and be talking about visibility and burnout. That's it. And thanks, Ian, for watching and commenting too. Bye for now.